I want to talk about Pete Rose for a minute, guys. It's assumed that he betted between $2,000 and $10,000 a game, so it's not an insignificant amount of money.
Especially in 1987.
Right. That being said, I want to give it to each of y'all to give me your side of things.
Pete Rose is a complicated person. As far as his baseball career goes, he's definitely... he's the all-time hits king. He should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame in that regard. Were the betting scandal not there, he'd be a slam dunk first ballot. He could have been the first unanimous Hall of Famer, potentially. The scandal itself, from what I can understand, I believe that they never found evidence that he did bet against his team, and he always says that he did bet for the team. If you want to split hairs like that, he's supposed to be... It's the untouchable rule. It's the golden rule. It's been... baseball's one unbreakable rule, unquestionable. Like it was known before he was even born.
I think that's your answer right there.
Yeah.
It's the one unbreakable rule. It's the rule that you don't... It's the unforgivable curse. He's not going to the Hall for me. I'm sorry, he's not.
No, he's not.
And you laid it out perfectly right there. It's baseball's one rule. You've got guys who are mired in steroid abuse scandals left and right, who've been left off the ballot for multiple decades now. And I don't think we make an exception for Pete Rose, sadly, because he's passed.
There is a lot of misconception out there where it's like, oh, it's a lifetime ban, and now he has passed. It's not a lifetime ban. He's permanently ineligible. So that also kind of settles that debate as well.
My thinking on the subject, when you bet just only on the Reds and only for your team to win, can I think of a scenario in which the integrity of the game would be in jeopardy? Because you would always, you could say you even have more incentive to win in that situation. So the only thing that I could come to a conclusion on is, say you bet on the second game of a series instead of the series as a whole.
I see where you're going.
Your starter is battling, but your offense is competing as well. If you have bet on this game, the likelihood of you pulling this starter and going to a relief pitcher and exhausting that bullpen in that game with that money on the line is really likely. You're going to pull out all the stops to win that particular game of that particular series.
That's exactly...
putting the rest of the series in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And the players. That's exactly what I thought, too. It's not the fact that you're still putting players at risk, because now you're willing to do whatever it takes to win, which is, like you said, exhausting pitchers or maybe leaving a batter in too long after he's been injured, and you're going to go to some extenuating circumstances to make sure you get that money.
Now, on the baseball side of it, here's where I find a little bit of hypocrisy with the whole deal. This is supposed to be baseball's bugaboo. This is supposed to be the number one thing that baseball will not tolerate. You cannot abide by that philosophy while you're collecting money working with sports betting agencies. You cannot have that both ways. I also just one quick ad before we get into the major part of the episode here. Commissioner Giamatti banned Pete Rose, and then 8 days later died of a massive heart attack. So Pete Rose was supposed to be eligible to apply for reinstatement after 1 year. If they hadn't renewed him after that 1 year, they would have at least renewed his eligibility to be reinstated had Giamatti not passed away.
Instead, Faye Vincent just dug his heels into the ground.
And really every subsequent commissioner since has just been like, that was literally the dude's dying wish. I'm not going against it.
Right.
There's really no
It was
debate.
the last thing he did. It was his last, major act as commissioner.
Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Forget what you guys are saying.
Welcome, everybody, again. I am Robbie Belusic.
I am Chris Green.
I am Tony Cook.
This is the Ranger Zone. 3 clinically obsessed Texas Rangers fans semi-qualify to dish out our takes like hot cakes, from the fans to the office. We're mainly going to get into some free agency pitching and the state of pitching with this team. We've lost a lot of guys in this offseason, both starters and relievers. Not a ton of money to spend, and it's looking like all of that money is going to go to pitching. But first, I do want to hit you just with some quick news here on the subject of pitching, too. It was kind of perfect the way that this news timed out with the recording of this episode. Dane Dunning and Josh Spores have both signed to avoid arbitration. We'll start with Josh Spores. He signs his 1 year, $1.1 million deal up from $1.025 million. He did not have a great 2024, guys. He just did not. Had four different stints on the IL.
Yeah, you got to have a 2024 to start with.
Yeah, 16, I think just like 16 and a third innings or so compared to his career high, the previous year when we won that.
I think they said 4 different stints on the DL.
Yeah, in 2024.
You could give me an over-under around 35, and I would probably still have guessed over. 16 is surprising.
The team definitely is trusting Josh Spores
As
this
they should.
season. They're trusting him this season because he is already going to miss 2 to 3 months. He's had some shoulder debridement procedure last week.
Debridement?
Yeah, debridement. I had to look up how to pronounce that. I imagine it is debris that you're removing from your shoulder.
Okay, so you get some little bone chips and stuff kind of thing.
Yeah, so not going to see Josh Spores until, April, May, June, maybe. The other signing that we have is Dane Dunning. He signed his 1 year deal for $2.6 million down from $3.225. Took a little home team discount for us. The largest possible pay cut that a player can take from
It was a
year
rough
to year.
24 for the man.
Yeah, he got optioned down at the end of the year. So yeah, not a great year for Dunning either. Happy he's still around. Really happy he took that hometown discount. Again, more pitching news, which is great. The Rangers made some 40-man roster moves. It was prior to the Rule 5 draft to make sure that these guys could not get scooped up by other teams. And those guys were...
Who we protecting?
Emiliano Teodo.
Yep.
And Winston Santos. Acosta also was...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
I
was,
know Acosta.
Yeah, he was also added to that 40-man.
A recurring segment we're going to have, guys, is about the Rangers and the ones that got away. The ones that we just gave up on a little too soon. The ones we never really gave a chance that somebody else is reaping the benefits for. Today, we're going to talk about Cole Reagans. And boy, does that one sting.
It does. A little bit, it does. But and I will say this, flags do fly forever.
He was definitely the third most consistent option out of that bullpen behind Leclerc and Spores.
Yeah,
During that postseason run, it was just those three, really.
Though shaky, and made everyone, shed 50 pounds of sweat every time he got up to the mound. Still was an integral part of making sure that we brought that trophy home.
So for those at home that don't know, the he that they're talking about is, of course, Aroldis Chapman.
Flamethrower.
Heat. Was it worth it, though, guys? Was it worth it? Was Aroldis Chapman an integral enough piece to give up who would be the undoubted number 2 on this roster?
I think you'd have to go back and look at the at-bats that he faced and say who else in that bullpen could have gotten those outs.
He did get some dicey moments. We turned to him. But did he really deliver in those dicey moments? His strikeout to walk ratio in the playoffs was 9-8.
Isn't that great?
It's up and down. It's all around.
So,
and it seems like he just kind of used that veteran presence and prowess that he's gained over the years and mustered up what he needed to when he had to and threw the pitch that got us out of an inning.
Well, and part of, I think, what you get with Aroldis Chapman is what you get with other people in sports, And actually, I'll take it back to Josh Hamilton. And there's a quote somewhere from back in the 2011 World Series where, he's hurt and his presence alone is enough to make the batter shake in Aroldis Chapman's case. His presence alone on the bump is going to give the hitter some pause.
Can we talk a little bit about what Cole Reagans has turned into here?
Well, so...
Do we have to?
Did you have one more thing on
yes.
Chapman here? Okay.
Instead of talking about 2024 Reagans, talk about 2022 and 2023 Reagans with the Texas Rangers. Our team has historically not had a great reputation when it comes to developing pitching talent. And how many of our pitchers in the past, or our pitching prospects at least, have we traded away for them to only unlock some new feature with a new team and then become dominant? So had Cole Reagans been 2024 Cole Reagans with the Texas Rangers, does he get traded to begin with? Most likely not. The reason I sleep a little easier at night when it comes to this trade is the fact that I don't know if I had faith for Cole Reagans to become what he has become with our organization.
I can't blame the Rangers organization for making the move that they made.
I'd make it again.
Looking back in that current situation, the way it was developing, it seems like a move that seems logical. It doesn't make it sting any less, knowing what's going on out here. So to shed a little light on Cole Reagans' situation with the Rangers, he had his first injury to his elbow in 2017 that required Tommy John. On the tail end of that recovery, sustained another elbow injury that required a second Tommy John. While recovering from the Tommy John, we had did he make it back in 2019 at all? I don't think he did. And
then,
his
debut, I believe, was in 22.
And then in 2020, we all lose the whole minor league season because of COVID.
So he loses the season of development.
He didn't pitch for 4 years. The fact that we gave up on him I can't blame the Rangers organization for that. But holy cow, for a guy to lead the league in strikeouts that could be on this team, boy, does that
with
sting.
years of control left.
Something really clicked with him in the trade to Kansas City, because I'm looking at the numbers, and he
started
didn't
throwing a different pitch. I just can't remember which one it was.
Well, and he had no starts with us in 2023. They did not start a single straight out of the bullpen. It was 17 games through about 24 innings, and the ERA it's 5.9. It's bad. We go straight to Kansas City where he starts 12 games, has a 2.64 while he's there, 70 over 71 innings. I mean, is it the fact that we were just not starting him? Was that it? Or I imagine it's a combination of whatever pitching staff they have in Kansas City, because it wasn't working with us, clearly.
I think it's an indictment on the organizational pitching development more than anything, as far as like what the heck happened here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's necessarily anything that...
And
I mean, Cole Reagans made the changes mechanically to get to where he is, but I don't know if it was necessarily anything that he brought to the table. More so, what did the Royals bring to the table for him?
It kind of brings me back to a theme that I'm going to have for the entirety of today's episode, where I'm not as scared of Tommy John as I was maybe even 6 or 7 years ago.
It feels inevitable.
It really is
for everybody. Almost.
Yeah, it really is. It's like foundation repair down here in Texas. It's if your house doesn't have it, don't worry, it will.
That clay's gonna bake.
Just a quick last comparison while we pull that up for Chapman. In comparing their 2023 and 2024's head-to-head.
Who's this?
This is still Reagan and Chapman.
Okay.
Reagans and Chapman. The WAR for Aroldis Chapman over that time period, which would be his time with the Rangers as well as this last season with Pittsburgh.
Okay.
His WAR is 1.7 compared to Reagan's 7.3 during that time frame.
Oh boy, is the spread? I get because they're in different roles. Is the spread for a closer different than the spread? Like
you would
the
expect
closer
it
WAR
to be
top
at least
out around
2 or
like
3 points lower, but 1.7 to a 7.3 is a pretty big difference. I would say.
Man, I'd have put money that he had a sub-3 ERA. He was at 3.14 for Mr. Reagans. That man is just money.
This season you're talking about, yeah?
Yeah, 186 innings. That's not bad. Especially in today's day and age.
That's
anything above 180 is you're putting in your full season.
You said
186? 186 and a third.
With 223 strikeouts? Is that what it was?
Yes, it was. 223 strikeouts to 67 walks.
Led the league in strikeouts per 9 at 10.8.
10.8.
10.8.
That's stinky good.
Here's what's crazy.
He did
led the league in 10.8, and then last year had a better strikeouts per 9, and
that's amazing.
Didn't lead the league, and that was 11.2 in 2023. My gosh.
135 ERA plus.
Wow, that's
if you had
a 170 ERA plus last year.
DeGrom and Reagans on the same staff
with Kumar Rocker.
You could argue you have two of the top 5
Eovaldi.
strikeout pitchers in baseball on your staff. It'd be really nice to be able to say that. That's all I'm saying. Whatever pitch you're saying that Kansas City has gotten him to use has unlocked something crazy.
Is he gonna? He's got to be a Cy Young favorite. He finished fourth this past year. I mean,
finished 4th, yeah, and
got his Tarek Skubal, but good lord,
yeah, got his first All-Star game appearance last year as well.
First of many. Mm-hmm. This man, as long as that elbow stays healthy, he's gonna just light it up.
How much longer does Kansas City have him under control for?
At least 3 more seasons, right?
Yeah, I think this he's probably going into his first arbitration eligible season this year,
and he's 27 going into. Or I think this will be his 27-year-old season.
My goodness gracious!
For as much time as he lost, for him to only be age 27 at this point is pretty impressive.
He's still pre-arbitration.
Wow!
This year is his last pre-arb year, and then he will go into his first year of arbitration in his age 28 season in 2026. My man, getting it done for the Royals.
The ones that got away.
It sure would be nice to have Cole Reagans on this staff because it would make this next discussion a lot easier on us, a lot easier on the team, just a lot easier all the way around. And that is the state of pitching right now. Who is starting for this team? Who's coming out of the bullpen? I will tell you who is not because they are no longer on this team. Some of the relievers we lost last year are Leclerc, Yates, Urania, Chafin, Roberts. Also, the starters that we lost, because that is what we're going to get into the most today, is the starting pitching on this team. We lost Andrew Haney, we lost Max Scherzer, and we lost, of course, our Game 5 World Series Houdini, Nathan Eovaldi. Nasty Nate, nastiest Nate. He's going to get north of $20 million for sure, probably $25 million. Some teams might even spend $30 million a year on him. Is that something you guys can see? I mean,
in a short
it's not
term,
out of the realm.
Like if somebody wanted to give him like 2 years at 60 or 65, if they're thinking their window is right now.
And I don't think I know he doesn't want a short deal. He would like to, I imagine, retire with
3 or
whatever
more
at the end of his next deal.
He's been very consistent in his time here, but this is his going into age 36 season. Are
Yeah.
we sure somebody's going to pay him $30 million?
I think it's more, like you said, Christopher, on the short-term type of thing. I think he wants more than 3.
I can't see that happening.
There's no way. There's no way you sign him into his age 40 season. I mean, 3 in a club option, maybe.
I could see that at 30, maybe for 2 years with that club option.
If somebody's doing 3 and then a club option club or player option for a 4th, I'd imagine that Eovaldi and his camp would just jump right on that.
Yeah.
If of course
I do 2 with the club option, but 3 with the club option. My goodness, you trying to keep this guy till he's pushing 40?
Would you give him 3 and 75?
I'd be fine with that. The guy is got playoff pedigree for sure. He has some of the best clutch moments and stats in the playoffs compared to some of these starting pitchers who are going to make the same amount of money and that are also available on the free agent market.
I mean, you look at the post Madison Bumgarner postseason pitching era here past 2014. I mean, who's up there with Nathan Eovaldi and at this point as far as just being able to put it on the table?
Yeah.
So
I think $25 million is the most I'm willing to spend for him.
yeah, I wouldn't want, like, if he's saying, oh, it's 27, 30 or more, and you go get that money, sir, you deserve it.
There's other options to turn to at that point.
I want to go through some other guys who are on the market, who are going to garner Nathan Eovaldi money in that $22 to $28 million range, and see if there's anybody out there we'd rather have or we are okay with going after if Eovaldi does not work out. I'm going to go from the top to the bottom and what their market dictates. Corbin Burns should make about $30 million a year. Blake Snell, about $26 million a year. Shane Bieber, he's coming off of Tommy John, expected to make about $24 million a year. Max Fried at $22 million a year, and 29-year-old Jack Flaherty at $20 million a year. That's where the market stands as far as free agency pitching in the same amount of money that Eovaldi is expected to make. And I've got the stat head stats up here for you guys to look at. The numbers are wildly glaring when I started to look at this. How about this? Just innings pitched alone, Eovaldi outranks all these guys.
A lot of miles on that arm.
Eovaldi's at 1,572 and a third innings pitched in his career. Next highest on that list is Blake Snell at 1,096 and 2/3. All the rest of the guys are under 900 innings pitched.
Looking at these guys, all of them great pitchers. I don't know if I'm wanting to. It feels like all of these guys are going to probably command a 5-year or more deal. I don't know if I want to give that to any of these guys.
That's one thing that I realized on this list as well is, good God, all these guys are old. They're in their 30s, and they're probably looking for their last contract.
Yeah, and they're not quite to the point where it's like, oh, if you're asking for more than 3, that's ridiculous. Or
rather, I should specify the second to last contract because, some of these guys, they might go into their 40.
Corbin Burns is probably going to get out of our price range just based off of
I think so,
the
too.
long-term value. Shane Bieber, because of him coming off of Tommy John, he might end up getting one of those 2-year deals like we just gave Tyler Malley. But
Shane Bieber
more
is
expensive.
Shane Bieber is look at Tony.
Not afraid of Tommy John.
And he's just coming off it, so that's nice.
His surgeon, Dr. Keith Meister,
Like a surgeon?
is from Dallas, Texas.
Hey,
Oh no,
hey.
he's our team doctor.
Is he really?
Yeah, Keith Meister works for the Rangers.
Well-
or I don't. He didn't like work for us, but he's like.
Kind of contracted
No, I
with
think
our
he-
injuries.
I think he does kind of work for us in that sense. I mean, like he has his own private practice where he does other Tommy Johns for other players and whatnot.
So-
but he's
Hot dog.
If we do end up being in on Bieber, we would know just better than just about anyone other than the Cleveland Indians.
yeah. If Keith Meister was the doctor, then we've got the inside track.
Is anybody heard? Is Cleveland in on him? I feel like that is a telling part of this free agency tape for
That's
him.
a good point. Because you don't want to end up in a situation like what the Angels had with Noah Syndergaard, where they got him I don't know. I think his was shoulder, not Tommy John, but where you got him coming off the injury and you gave him the show me contract, and then it just blows up in your face. I mean, I would. Oh, man, it feels like a safe bet. Shane Bieber, he was so good when he was healthy. Look at these walks.
That's my point.
This is just this man does not give out free passes
My goodness, that's
and strikes
crazy.
people out at the same time. It's
He
not
is.
like he's just a ground ball pitcher. It's
He's
like
not
he's
just a
striking
ground
you
ball
out.
pitcher, but he's a guy that position players like when he's on the mound. You know what I mean? He's a guy who keeps things engaging as far as keeping the ball in play. He doesn't walk a lot of guys. It's good to keep players engaged when they're in the field with a guy like Bieber on the mound.
And the youngest guy on this list, next to
Is-
Jack Flaherty.
When will he be ready? Is he a situation?
It's looking towards about halfway through.
Yeah,
the
'cause he
season.
started this past season and then got hurt, right?
Correct.
And
He
so,
made,
yeah.
I think, just one.
So it could
or a
even be like a Jacob deGrom situation where it's like we may not see him till September, and if it's where we're out of it by that point, so I would need him at least, or I would need him. I would like to have him at least on a 2-year deal in this scenario. Like we'll help you work your way back through the second half of this Tommy John surgery. In return, you give us a full healthy season the following year.
I could see us giving him like a 3-year deal that's really like 2.5.
Or yeah, like in that second, with some incentives, maybe if the third year can kick in if you meet a certain innings limit there in the second year, or if your ERA is below a certain point.
And maybe with us giving you this extra year, you can come down to maybe 18.5 on your per year average. You really think this dude coming off Tommy John's gonna get 25?
I can't see him getting less than 20.
Really?
Yeah.
because doesn't he have a Cy Young?
He does.
This is going to be a real interesting case for free agency and the general.
He was an All-Star in 2019, fourth in Cy Young voting.
Okay.
The next year, 2020, he won the Cy Young, fourth in MVP. The next year, 2021, he was an All-Star again, and then in 2022, seventh in Cy Young, but also took home a Gold Glove. He did start last season. He made 2 starts.
Okay.
That's it.
Super early then.
Yeah, through 12 innings. Through those 12 innings, though, struck out 20 batters.
Good Lord. And probably walked 1. Right.
Here, let me see. Yep, you're right
No way.
on the button. He
Oh
only
my
walked 1.
gosh.
How great. That's cool. Christopher, you were about to take us over to Jack Flaherty. Were you? Were you getting somewhere on that?
Pass. And so Max Fried. So Jack Flaherty. So he flamed out in St. Louis, which is an organization that's known for having great pitching. Did they trade him, or did he sign as a free agent in Detroit? And then, of course, Detroit traded him to the Dodgers, where he won the World Series. But it ended up being pretty much their ace there through that postseason run in a team that absolutely slugged their way to a World Series title. If Jack Flaherty is your ace in your rotation, then things have gone wrong.
Yeah, I'll tell you, between all of these guys here who are available, including Eovaldi, Jack Flaherty, and for career stats, does not lead any of these categories.
He is looking like he's the lowest on the projected annual value as well.
That's true.
So that
he is
tracks.
he is a settle pick. He is.
Yeah,
I
missed.
It's like, well, maybe we can get this guy.
Right.
The other guy who really intrigues me on this list is Max Fried. Just as much as Shane Bieber, good God, would love to have Max Fried. He has the highest WAR of all of these guys, just edging out Blake Snell, who's got 23.4 for his career WAR. Max Fried at 24.1.
Which, what that is half the innings of Nathan Eovaldi he's pitched as well, and he's got more WAR for his career.
Yeah.
So Max Fried's a filthy pitcher.
He really is.
How
lowest
did he do last year? Let me see.
Yeah, check that. He's got I'll run through his career stats really quick while you're going through that. Career 3.07 ERA. That leads this list. Also, career ERA plus of 140. That also leads this list.
Just to reiterate what this list is, it's Eovaldi, Burns, Bieber, Flaherty, Fried, and Snell.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at his 2024 season, which was his age 30 season, so you're signing him going into age 31.
Max Fried will turn 31 in January.
I believe Eovaldi will be 36 at some point during this next season.
Max Fried's going to probably get 5 at least.
You think so?
Because he's had a consistent stretch here where he had an injury in 2023, but returned right back more or less to his old form. He had 3.5 wins last year as far as WAR. He was 11-10, but he had a 3.25 ERA. He pitched 174 innings, so that's encouraging coming off of an injury. He struck out 166 to only 57 walks, which is real solid. That's a strikeouts per 9 of 8.6 and a strikeout to walk ratio of 2.91, which the 2.91, that's lower than his career averages, but it's still encouraging. His whip was only 1.1, so there was no giant increase there. His FIP, which is fielding independent pitching, which is kind of a way to look at ERA if you were to take your fielders out of it, was 3.33, which is basically in line with what his ERA was. So it wasn't a situation where his defense was saving him necessarily.
Yeah, he's got the goods.
Is he your number 1 starter? No.
No.
Probably a number 2 on most teams in the league. But the crazy thing here is he's probably going to get number 1 starter money. He's probably going to get the bag.
Yeah. And the guys
him and Corbin Burns, I would think.
The guys that we're shopping for don't necessarily have to be number 1. They could be 1B, or they could be, the number 2, which is what Eovaldi is going to be behind Jacob deGrom. If Jacob deGrom is doing Jacob deGrom things, which he should be be doing.
Please, dear God,
Eovaldi is going to play. Yeah, Eovaldi will play second fiddle to him. So
one other thing to look at when you're looking at pitchers, I believe Blake Snell was the last guy on this list. I'm pretty sure he's a Scott Boras guy, isn't he? Didn't he get burned with the Giants deal on the Boras deal, where he was another one of those very, very late in the season?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Off-season signings.
Blake Snell is going to get the most money of everybody on this group. Because he's going to look for that contract that he didn't get last offseason. He's the only multiple Cy Young Award winning guy on this list. When it comes to strikeouts, when he is on his game, none of these guys can just even sniff him. The dude is a strikeout mastermind, but at the same time, this is the kind of pitcher that if he doesn't like the matchup, he'll intentionally walk the guy just so he can get to a batter that he thinks he can strike out. So it could get a little
video game stuff.
Yeah, he can get a little dicey there on the mound. He plays by his own rules. He's the first to admit the importance of spring training after signing late last year with the Giants, but it did not take long at all for him to eventually find that form. I think he had a small IL stint, and when he came off, it was boom, I'm Blake Snell again. He gonna get some money.
Yeah.
With what Ray Davis has been talking about with our financial situation, I can't imagine us even entertaining a Scott Boras client at this point. Just the way that guy deals with folks is just, the price is just going to continue to hike up until you just say I'm out.
It looks like you have a B tier list of free agents here.
I do have a B tier.
These are very interesting names that I'm interested in.
Yeah, these are all the guys. Yeah, these are all guys who are just underneath that Nathan Eovaldi money. This is going to be a quantity versus quality starting rotation. If any of these guys end up making it to the Rangers, that means that we have missed out on Eovaldi, we have missed out on Max, we've missed out on everybody, including even some of our own guys that we might want to see back, like Andrew Haney, and if we were really, really desperate, Max Scherzer. But in this second tier of guys, we have some people like Frankie Montas, Sean Manaea, Charlie Morton, Charlie Morton, and Luis Severino. So Charlie Morton is 41 whole years old. Should make about $17 million a year next year.
Hey, he's a young man compared to Rich Hill.
Second on this list as far as value at $16 million, Sean Manaea. Luis Severino, $14 million, and Frankie Montas, $13 million. I will say, if this is the route that the team unfortunately has to go, where it is a more quantity versus quality starting rotation, it means we've got money to spend on the bullpen, which we will desperately need, or another bat, which I don't see happening. All of the 40 or so $1 million that we have to spend needs to be all spent on arms, as far as I'm concerned.
One of these names just jumps way out at me, and that's Sean Manaea.
Mm-hmm.
He just came off of a brilliant season with the Mets. I have it pulled up here. He went 12-6. He had a 3.47 ERA, and he pitched all 32 games, didn't miss any time. 181 innings, which looks like it, was indeed a career high for the man. He gave up 134 hits. He had 184 strikeouts to 63 walks, which is very nice. He had a ERA plus of 114, which is, slightly above average. The payroll commitment in this scenario is significantly less, and the whip is very nice. The whip is 1.08 for almost finding his way below 1 there. His strikeouts per 9 was 9.1, which is just great this day and age. Strikeout to walk ratio 2.92. He finished 11th in the Cy Young voting.
Man, ever since he touched over 9 strikeouts per 9, he's never gone back, with the exception of 2020, where it was 7.5. Then every year after that, 9.7, 8.9, which is basically 9, and of course 9.8, and then 9.1.
You take 2020 with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
so,
yes.
Like this guy's very intriguing. Almost inclined to say, if you miss out on Eovaldi to nix the rest of the guys we just talked about, go this route and then spend the money on the bullpen.
Yeah, I love that idea. If it is a thing where we miss out on Eovaldi and maybe we decide we don't want to spend that kind of money, and we like some of these B-tier guys, Sean Manaea. Luis Severino was another guy.
Yes, he's also very intriguing.
Those were my two. Yeah, Luis Severino.
Give me Mets pitchers.
Yeah, give me Mets pitchers. At this point, it seems like former Yankee pitchers are a hit for us now. So, he checks both those boxes.
So Luis Severino, a big bounce back year for him, had a negative 1.5 WAR in 2023 and turned that all the way around to a 1.6 WAR in 2024. Led the league in shutouts at 1. Did have 1 shutout last year.
Is he a guy who's had a
cool.
big injury history with his time with the Yankees? I think I remember that.
In 2020, it says he did not play because there was an injury.
Okay.
I'll go through his 2024 stats kind of quickly here. Had a 3.9 ERA, started 31 games, pitched 182 innings, 161 strikeouts.
It looks like it was a prove me deal with the Mets last year, and he proved himself.
Yeah, he absolutely did prove himself. Yeah, on this second list, I'm with you. Sean Manaea, Luis Severino. If we miss out on one of the top guys, taking one of these, I'd love that.
I'm very intrigued, as a last resort for Charlie Morton. If it's I need a guy who can take this ball every 5th day and eat me some innings, I'm interested in Charlie Morton at that
every
point.
10th day. It doesn't have to be Charlie Morton every 5th. It could be Dane Dunning. It could be Jack Leiter. And then, Charlie Morton can hang out in there.
And it feels like because you're signing him.
Catch him in between whittling projects.
I'm certain he wants to go to a contender at this point in his career. He's not, wanting to take that Jordan Lyles route. If all else fails, he's definitely a good option left there on the table. We signed Bartolo Colon back in 2015, 2016, something like that. Or no, it was 2018.
Yeah, it was later than that.
Yeah.
If somebody who didn't know him were to look him up, they'd be like, boy, he's really let himself go. And you'd be like,
no, he looks probably better today. Considering he's playing.
So we're saying, you, Christopher, saying definitively, if we don't sign Uvalde,
I don't want the other guys.
You don't want the other guys.
Nah.
I definitely got Bieber fever, guys. I'm sorry.
I would.
Okay. I will take Bieber on the prove me contract. But as far as the rest of these guys that are going to get 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years, I don't want to give it to any of them.
You could convince me to do Max Fried. I'd rather go.
He's just gonna be out of our price range. I think. What did they have him projected making? Let me see what you had. $22 million. I feel like.
So it's right. Yeah, it's right at where Uvalde.
I just think he's gonna get more than that.
Yeah,
though.
He could easily get 30.
Just
like Uvalde, he could easily get 30. So yeah, I agree with you there. This gives me some things to look forward to for this offseason. I think it's going to be an interesting race between who's going to sign all these guys and, who's going to miss out on these guys and who's going to scoop these guys up.
The free agent arms are a lot more appealing of a discussion than the free agent bats right now.
Yeah, and especially because we are not in a position to spend any money on free agent bats.
Yeah.
It has been said. We have said it. The team has said it. The owner, our Pobo, has said it. We're going to trust our bats to just come back.
Everything points to next free agency for bats.
That's right.
Not this one.
Pick up an extra outfielder and a backup catcher and end it,
Yep, absolutely.
Just fill out the roster with somebody.
Yeah. This next segment is called Scarf or barf.
Oh.
Everybody has their holiday festivities where you celebrate, you eat your good meals. You've got your turkeys, your hams, your green bean casserole, your baked mac and cheese, all of these staples, your cranberry sauce, did I say mashed potatoes yet?
Good. Whatever it is good.
Beans, green potatoes, tomatoes. Yeah.
You name it.
If you're anything like me, or maybe a bit of a picky eater when it comes to some of these, I'm sure...
Boy, that is an understatement.
I like vegetable.
That's true. That's a vegetable. That's true. Lindsay has gotten you to open your vegetable horizons.
Corn is good.
Corn is not.
Potato.
Corn is not a vegetable. Potatoes are also not a vegetable.
I'll eat carrots. I'll eat.
That is a vegetable.
Okay. I'll just tell you one that I'm not touching, and I have this argument all the time. People, broccoli is the worst food on the planet.
I disagree with you there. I love broccoli.
No. You say somebody be like, well, what about like you can't even eat like broccoli and cheddar soup? No, that's broccoli soup. The cheese is lost to me. You take one bite of that, and this is broccoli with liquid now. We're going to go around. I'm going to name a holiday food staple, and you tell me if it's one that you got to have or if it's one that you can leave behind. This one was probably more of a Christmas Eve one, but how about them Christmas Eve tamales?
Oh.
I got a scarf, man.
Yeah, I'm scarfing on them tamales.
All day.
You know what is... Some people might be hearing this who don't have the good fortune of living where we live, and they're like, "Ugh, tamales." No, but yeah, I feel like we're lucky to have them Christmas tamales.
Yeah, we got the real deal Holyfields down here.
Yes.
How about this? When it comes to the main staple, are you a turkey or a ham guy? Or a curveball of some sort?
So it depends on the holiday for me, obviously. Thanks. You're not getting me. I mean, I will eat other things than turkey. But for Thanksgiving, I want turkey. That needs to be my main meat. It's Turkey Day. It is called Turkey Day, so I better have turkey.
Now, we can go a layer deeper. Are we going smoked turkey? We frying this turkey? We cooking it in the oven? How's this turkey being prepared?
So for Friendsgiving, I like to fry turkeys. My family has always done multiple turkeys around Thanksgiving, traditionally baked, and then we've smoked some, but good God, that fried turkey, you can't beat the fried turkey. And I smoke a lot of meats. True. Tony, so where are you on Thanksgiving?
On Thanksgiving, fried turkey is, I mean, y'all said it.
Well, your father has a fried turkey that's so dang good he gets commissioned. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my pops ends up having to buy, a ton of peanut oil every holiday season, and he'll probably end up doing 6 or 7 for folks that we know and love over these next few days. Yeah, you cannot beat the fried turkey. We inject it with the Tony Chachere's and all kinds of crazy other stuff. You got to do it big,
Yes.
and we can do ham all year round, but we do turkey.
What is your Thanksgiving staple that you do not want on your table? That you're just not touching it. That will be at most people's table.
Y'all ready for this? Banana cranberry sauce is really crappy. It tastes like garbage.
It is certified
is it
better
taste
out
or
of
is it
the
a
can,
texture
though.
thing?
I don't mind the texture. Texture usually is not a big thing
It's
for
so
me.
much better out of the can.
It's nonsense. It's
That homemade
nonsense,
stuff's
grossness. I'm good. No, get that nasty sanguine garbage off my table.
My grandmother does this like marshmallow fruit salad thing.
my mom makes that. You don't like it?
I can't stand it.
Okay.
It's just
It's like cherry
weird.
pie filling kind of as the main base or whatever.
It's more marshmallowy than anything else.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not a fan at all.
I'm going to quick hit a couple of these for you guys because I'm just now realizing I dogged on you for being picky, but there are some like hot take foods that that I cannot stand that I know people are just, over the moon about. Green bean casserole.
I'm former barf, current scarf.
Scarf.
Nope, no thanks.
Whoa.
Barf on the green bean casserole.
I'm eating the green bean casserole and you're not?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I feel
It's
a little
like
better.
literally one of the only foods that you can say is actually American.
And y'all better
Is
keep
green
your
bean
voices
casserole.
down because if my wife Jordan finds out, I mean, and she knows I don't like green bean casserole, but she loves to cook it, and
the French onions on top of this.
Say that one more time. The French onions on top are the best thing about that dish. You're absolutely right.
No, yeah, hands down.
So I'd rather just have the French onions.
You tolerate the green beans and the cream of mushroom
Yes.
eat the French onions.
Okay.
Okay.
You got to do cream of mushroom that doesn't actually have mushrooms in it, though. I don't want mushrooms in my green bean casserole. Just the cream of mushroom, if flavor is enough. Just
don't need
the
them
essence.
chunks.
All right, so our next one, deviled eggs.
Oh, gross. My mom makes the best ones in the world, apparently, but I just can't stand them.
What about you? Oh, the little look on Tony's face. He is just, yeah.
You could put them straight in the trash can.
You can send that look my way too, bud, because
I am the trash can. Put them straight in the trash can.
Yeah, deviled eggs are hot garbage as well. I don't want them. Yuck, yuck, yuck. And I love eggs. I love eggs. I will eat eggs just about any other eggs. Yeah, I'll eat them just about all those places Sam I Am wanted to eat the green eggs and ham. I'll eat eggs there, but if they're deviled, he can kick rocks. Oh, here we go. Pecan pie or pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin. And I say that as a Texan, I'm sorry, but pumpkin.
Neither. Apple pie.
Oh,
Okay,
Tony over there with the
Granny
hits.
Smith.
I'm going with you too, Christopher. I
can eat pecan pie.
I like pecan pie.
But I'm going to the pumpkin pie.
Yeah, I'm going
if
with
I got a
pumpkin
choice.
pie.
It might have been my girlfriend's house. I think her mom made a sweet potato pie.
Ooh.
That was so damn good. I thought it was a pumpkin pie.
And then last one I have for you. First, you're going to scarf or barf. And then secondly, you're going to tell me what you call it.
Okay.
Stuffing or dressing. Scarf or barf.
It is, that is an absolute scarf. I call it stuffing, but I do believe I grew up with it being referred to as dressing.
Tony, scarf or barf, stuffing / dressing.
I'm a scarf. You're not going to find too many things that I'm going to be barfing on Thanksgiving.
Other than how the Cowboys will probably do.
It's dressing. I'm Southern and it's dressing.
It's
We're not
dressing.
stuffing it in the turkey either, so it's not stuffing. We're cooking that
It's
separate.
the dressings.
I'm a scarf as well. I will scarf that stuffing down, but I call it stuffing.
Is it? I don't know. Whoever makes the stovetop stuffing in the red box, it might be Betty Crocker. That is.
Is it stovetop?
It's so bomb. That is. Oh, it's so good. I might
It's
grab a box
stovetop,
on the way
baby.
home.
It's stovetop.
It's just called
brand.
stovetop. Yeah.
It sure
Shameful.
is. We want to thank you guys for joining us again, listening to another episode of the Ranger Zone. We are not done with free agency pitching because there is another name, guys, that we did not get to. He does not played in the MLB ever, but he will be next year, and that is Mr. Roki Sasaki of the Chiba Lotte Marines. And I think the Rangers have a really good shot of getting him, and we will talk about that and more on next week's episode of the Ranger Zone. You can follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts and on Instagram and Twitter at Ranger Zone Pod. That is at Ranger Zone Pod on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. I am Robbie Belusic.
I am Chris Green,
I am Tony Cook.
and that is the way the baseball goes.